Hello everyone, welcome to my spoiler talk of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And is there things to talk about? Of course. My goodness, what a movie, isn't it? The fact that it's so polarizing always amazes me, because you got the people who want a serious movie that just, sometimes you just gotta have fun with a movie. And that is what this movie is. I'm not gonna praise Sony for making like the next Shakespeare. I'm not gonna praise Sony for that, because they didn't make that, okay? They made a silly Venom movie. And that's all that they did. Alright? And to be honest, when you have a line in there that says, I know this one, it's a 3. It's like, it's gonna be silly. There's also some like 2000 with like Carnage hacking the internet. It's like that. It feels really like end of 90s, early 2000s kind of thing, where it's like, really? Carnage just can hack the internet, like can hack the FBI database, like the stuff that the FBI can't even reach. He can get that far in. He can get further than the FBI. No way can he do that. But that just makes me enjoy this movie a lot. But like I said in my review, Tom Hardy once again is back with fantastic material. He's just great as Venom. Even that fight that he has in his apartment with Venom, it's just great. The way that he talks to Venom and the way that Venom talks to him. You're an idiot. Yeah. I mean, Eddie Brock is an idiot. And it's just like the way that they also work together. I hope that they don't do this for the next movie. Like, I don't want to see a Thor thing where it's like he's trying to find his place in the world. And he always tries to find a place in his... Like, it's just the same story arc that he always has. No matter how you look at it, Thor always has the same story arc in the movies. Here, I hope that they don't do that. I hope that they keep the fighting to this movie, and that in the next movie, they just are buddies, okay? Like best friends taking on the symbiote invasion instead of having like this lovers fight, which we don't need. I also like how, by the way, this once again, I will say this in every spoiler talk, at least if I remember correctly. If I remember to say it, this is going to be a bit rambly. So I'm sorry for that one, but that's why I have the review. Less rambly, just to the point, call it a day. This one is a bit more rambly. So if I sit here for 20 minutes talking about Venom Let There Be Carnage, that is edited down with all of the white noise, basically, the silence taken out, and some of the rambly bits like pulled back a bit. Then that's fine. I also love how Mrs. Chen just has been feeding Venom, and that he's kind of like a protector now, like, because in the first movie you had the guy come into the store and it's like, I need my protection money. Venom just comes into the store and is like, I need my protection chocolate. Give me some chocolate and I'll keep protecting your store. I love that so much, and how integral like Mrs. Chen kind of is, because when Venom and Eddie split and Venom goes through bodies, not like that, but he gets a high body count, not like that, because he can't keep them alive. He eventually reaches Mrs. Chen again, and it's like, yeah, the first person he goes to is Mrs. Chen. That's who he goes to, the woman who feeds him chocolate. I also love that scene in the bar, in the restaurant, where it's like Venom wants to eat brains. Eddie won't let him. They go for chicken brains, and then afterwards they get a call from Anne, and Venom is like, that's the voice of a woman who's just been brutally dumped. They go over there, and she's like, I'm getting married, and he's like, oh, we're great. And Venom later on is like, I'm gonna make you cry now. Cry. I couldn't stop laughing at that. But I also like how emotional it is, because after that restaurant scene, Eddie just drives off. He's like, I just don't care anymore. Basically, he's on a offing yourself run, if I need to say this, I can't say the actual word, but you know what the buicide run is. But he can't die, because no matter what, Venom fixes it anyway. But the problem is, Venom can't fix this broken heart that he has. And Venom just goes down. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry that I can't fix it. And then Eddie just goes into him like, I'm human. You're not. I forgot the word that he used, but basically he calls him a parasite. And Venom is just like, I'm gonna take that because we are hurting. And I love that. I love that scene. I really like how that brings them. Like, Venom and Eddie are the movie, basically. Now let's just talk about Carnage for a little bit, okay? Because I need to get something off my chest. Now the voice is more of a nitpicky thing, I feel like. It's their movie, they can do whatever they want with it. But the fact that Carnage is not one, they make that a point to say that at the end of the movie. But in the movie he says we instead of I. Now, Carnage is different from Venom in the comics, because in the comic books, Carnage is the perfect symbiote. As in, he has achieved perfect symbiosis. Him and Cletus Cassidy are literally one. They're not two. They will say I. You know, Carnage is just like, I am Carnage, not we are Carnage. That is the big thing in the comic books for Carnage, the fact that they're together. But in this movie, I guess in order for Venom to be able to win, because Venom at the end of the movie is like, oh, it's a red one. Yeah, you're on your own. And it's like, what do you mean? Well, the red ones are stronger. Which makes me think, okay, so the black ones are the weakest. They are the lower class, basically, like the lower tiered ones. Don't take that out of context. Then we have like Riot, like the gray ones, I guess, that are more like middle class in that sense, because Riot was the leader of the symbiotes that came to Earth. But then you have Carnage, which is even more powerful than that. But the only way that they're able to beat him is because of the fact that Cletus Cassidy and Carnage don't have symbiosis. Like, they're not one. And that is kind of something where I always go like, wait a minute, that is wrong. Because what do you mean? They're supposed to be one. It's not a they, it's a he. Because they means two, as in Eddie and Venom. But this is just one. It's just he. No, nothing else, just he, okay? But in this movie, it's like, no, they're separate beings and they can't really focus. And that also has to do with Shriek. What? Who's Shriek? But Shriek, who has the power to scream like a banshee. And you know where that goes. I talked about that in my spoiler-free review. But a woman with the power of high-pitched voice, you can kind of see where that goes, right? I mean, Cletus Cassidy is in love with this woman. But you can see where that goes, because Carnage doesn't like that. And he's just like, immediately, Carnage is like, if she does that again, I'll kill her. And at that point, I'm immediately like, but you two are supposed to be one. There isn't, basically, Cletus Cassidy and the symbiote are gone. And the only thing that remains is Carnage. So that's where I find it a little bit weird. Where it's like, what do you mean? Oh, it makes me so mad. I'm sorry that I'm hampering on about this, but that part is just like, I mean, I will say this, though. This is a Sony-made movie. So, for me, it's kind of like an Elseworld story, obviously. So, I'm not going to hold it by its comic book part. But it's so hard not to do that when it's such a big plot point for Carnage. For the difference between Carnage and Venom in the comics and in the shows. That is just so weird that they're just not doing that. So, let's just move on to the next part before I keep hammering on about this stuff. And the next part is, I'm gonna say this. Now, I know probably nobody else thought this, but I actually thought Anne was gonna die when Eddie has her, when I first watched it. Because of the fact that I was kind of reminded of Gwen Stacy. For the people who know The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but for people like me who have actually read that comic book. That was actually what the reason, like back in the day, where I kind of like, I was kind of like done with comic books for a bit. And I've really picked up comic books, but that traumatized me with the death of Gwen Stacy. Now, just so you know, I didn't read that issue when it came out, because I don't even think that I was alive at that point. But at the library, we had that issue. And that was kind of like the break point. But I thought about that. But it's like, no, they're not going to kill her. But I was thinking, like, maybe because you do have, like, the clock tower. And it's very reminiscent of Gwen Stacy. Also, I love the Dan in this movie. Because, like, Anne basically becomes the love interest of a normal superhero movie. And in case you don't know what that means she's going to be captured by the main bad guy. I talked about the first movie where they didn't do that stuff. Well, here, they do. However, this time, it's not about her, it's about Dan. And Dan just goes, and it's just like, fire and heat, fire and sound, fire and sound. It's like drenching Carnage in fire. When he's just beating up Venom, it's like, yes! Also, I don't know why Venom did a threesome before returning to Eddie. Because when Eddie and Venom are falling, like at the end of the movie, it's like Venom goes away from Eddie to Dan, down to Anne, which I hate the fact that their names rhyme, and then back to Eddie in order to save Eddie. Why did he do that? Couldn't he have just... Did he need like a soft reset in that sense? Like we're going into someone else and then bam. There we go. Now I'm back, baby. I don't know. Just found that one weird. Also, I will say this. The final fight scene. I probably should have said this in the review. But the final fight scene of this movie looks great. Alright. you can basically see everything because they don't do the water thing. If you don't remember what the water thing is, hey, me in the future, if you're editing this and you're listening to this part, put up an image of the water effect that I'm talking about that happened during Venom 1, where Riot and Venom just smack into each other and you just basically have this water effect. They don't do that, so I love the fighting here between Venom and Carnage. I have my issues with this movie, but I did like that. I also love the prison scene. Yes, Carnage goes full on Looney Tunes, but let's be honest here, this is a movie you can't take seriously. So, this is just a silly movie, and sometimes you just need a silly movie. But he basically goes full on Looney Tunes, and I know that he doesn't like, you know, like rip people apart or just like, you know, use their spine as a straw or something like that. I know he doesn't do that in this movie because it's PG-13, even though here in the Netherlands they have the same rating, which is kind of weird. But he still like kills people, so it still has some violence. It's toned down, but there's still some violence, and people are acting like there isn't any violence at all. You have like choppers exploding and stuff like that, but so there is some of it, but it's not like Carnage is going full on insane. Would I have loved to see Carnage go full on insane? Yes, absolutely. But this is not the movie for it. Sony is also not the company for it, because yes, Deadpool made like a lot of money, so they could do an R-rated Venom movie. The problem is Sony doesn't have faith in that, and let's be honest here, with the way that Sony makes movies, this movie survives on the fact that it's PG-13 and it would never have been made if it was R-rated. If the first movie was R-rated, this movie would have never been made, because they would have lost money, because you can't get like the teenagers who just don't really, you know, aren't really looking for like this deep storyline, who just want to have fun with a movie. You can't really get them into the theaters because the fact's 18 plus, and adults are gonna be like, oh, but this is not a serious philosophical superhero movie. It's not, so you can't get them in the seats, which means you can't win. Now then, next up we also have the end part where Venom is like, oh, we need a cape and a mask, and then Eddie's like, you kind of got that covered. In Venom the Last Dance. In Venom the Last Dance, I want to see Venom with a cape. I don't care if it's an opening joke. I want to see that stuff. I want to see the movie open with him having a cape, and then Eddie being like, this looks stupid, and Venom agreeing and just getting rid of the cape. I want to see that. I also would like to see the spider symbol on Venom it's the last movie. Now you can't go off of anything from the trailer, because in the trailer can hide certain things, you know, like it's a CGI being, they can add it later, so it could be in the movie. Also, I will figure out a place to edit this in because I forgot to talk about it, but Shriek was generic as cute, and also the cop Mulligan. They were just basically generic. Now, Shriek is the one who wants to get married to Carnage, or Cletus Cassidy, and, you know, she gets killed for it. I like how Venom kills her, where it's just like, you know, because Eddie's like, we need fire, and then Venom is like, or noise, or sound, or whatever he says, and then he pushes her off, and then kills her, maybe? I mean, the bell lands on her, but you know that the inside of the bell is hollow, so she could still be alive under there. Who knows? I thought she was fine in the movie. I didn't really think much about it. I kind of wish that they removed her and instead focused more on the insanity. Also, about Cletus Cassidy, they do the whole like redemption arc with him. I'll probably just edit this in the end of the video. But they try to do this like emotional thing where we have to care, like, oh, my mommy and daddy and grandma beat me and that's why I killed them. Alright, they abused me. And it's like, did we need this for Cletus Cassidy? Did we need like a sympathetic villain? Or it's like, you know, all I wanted was a friend. I mean, I was totally there with the Venom, where it's like, F this guy when he bites his head off. It's like, yeah, I was there. It's like, I was like, yeah, Venom, F him. No, you're not gonna get a sympathetic Carnage out of this, okay? Cletus Cassidy only really wanted a friend. Get away with this stuff. I kind of like to see that as being more of a joke, where it's like, I just wanted a friend, and then Venom just F this guy. I like to see that more as a joke. But I thought I'd mention that because I did forget to talk about that. But the cop is, in the next movie, The Last Dance, going to be Toxin. And I am excited about it. I don't know what they're going to do. In the comic books, from what I've read on the Wikipedia page, I will say that. Look, at least I'm honest. I'm not going to pretend to be a 20-year... I've been a fan of Toxin for the past 20 years, when in reality, I just look up the Wikipedia page when he comes out. I literally look at the Wikipedia page, because I don't know who this is. But apparently Toxin is a literal child. Also, Venom, congratulations on becoming grandpapa. Because Carnage is the son of... no, Toxin is the son of Carnage. But congratulations on becoming grandpapa. Sorry you had to kill your own son. Hopefully you don't have to do that with your grandson. But Toxin is basically a child who wants to just like, you know, as a child, wants to play. But the cop, Mulligan I think his name was, he keeps Toxin in check where it's like, okay, during the day, I'm in control. But during the night, Toxin is in control. So I don't know if they're going to go a good guy route with Toxin where it's like they're going to give Venom like a sidekick or something like that. I don't really know. Also, about the rave party, that was like a big thing. I think that's what it's called. Man, I feel old when I talk about that. I'm just not in touch with anything. Last time I got a restraining order and I was in prison for 5 years because she said she was 18 but wasn't. Oh, that joke might get cut. I don't care. But, like, I don't know what that was, like the rave party. I mean, I enjoyed it overall. Seeing Venom without Eddie felt a bit weird. Where he's just like, I'm out of the Eddie closet. It did feel a bit weird where it's like, yeah, but you two belong together. So go back. I just say sorry and go back. So I don't really have much to say. But that was a big thing online. So I thought I'd mention it. That way at least it's mentioned in the review. And now let's talk about the final thing before I leave. And that is the MCU part. Now this was so exciting. At the end of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now for a lot of people, it makes Venom Let There Be Carnage. Where it's like, yeah, Venom Let There Be Carnage because Venom gets transported into the MCU. And for me, it was always like, I liked this movie before that. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, no. Oh, I was so excited though because No Way Home was coming out. It was like, whoo, me. I want to see that. I want to see Venom in No Way Home. Maybe they've hidden him to not spoil Venom Let There Be Carnage. You know, and it's all just for a bar talk in spoiler warning for No Way Home. Our bar talk in No Way Home and potentially something that will be retconned in the next movie. Now that is basing the first trailer because of how it works. However, that does not mean anything. They could edit that scene out of Venom The Last Dance and still have it connect to the MCU. But man, we were robbed. I'll say that right now. We were robbed. I mean, I would have loved to see Tom Hardy interact and also have like Tobey Maguire see a good Venom because he's the only one that knows what's happening right now, okay? He is the only one that knows what happens because he had a symbiote. So he knows. But then it's like, you know, oh, this Venom is actually an anti-hero, but basically a good guy. That would have been so cool, but no, it's just a post-credit scene that might not even be canon anymore because of Venom The Last Dance. We'll have to wait and see. And also, potentially for either Spider-Man 4, which apparently rumors have it that they want to include Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield again, and also potentially Venom. And also, you know, Secret Wars. We have to wait until that. When that's done, it's like, alright, so that is the last chance for Tom Hardy to be back. And I want to see Tom Hardy in Venom The Last Dance. And then after that, if he wants to make an appearance in the MCU for Secret Wars or Spider-Man 4, I will agree to that. But I don't want to see Venom again. It's just let it end. You have a trilogy. You have made a trilogy before Superman could do it. Basically. Superman had like 4 movies back in the day, and then he had 1 movie, and then he had another 1 movie, and you can technically count maybe 2 movies if you count Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, but we're not going to count Justice League as Superman 3. So, but it's like he couldn't get like Venom got a trilogy. It's still so mind-blowing. But overall, I will end it here by saying that I enjoy this movie, but do I think that this movie is like really good? No. Was it ever going to be really good? No. But sometimes these bad things can be enjoyed. And I will say it's a 7 out of 10 because I enjoyed it. Because can I really say that this is an officially bad movie when I enjoyed this movie? No. It's not a bad movie. But it's not like, you know, like a 10 out of 10 or something like that. It's not like a really good movie. It's more like this is good, but it could have been so much better if if it was maybe made by Marvel. But who knows? Their track record is kind of hit or miss as well nowadays. So yeah, I will say that this movie is a lot better than a lot of stuff that came out in the MCU in phases 4 and 5. I will say that right now. This is better than a lot. Like, I would rather rewatch this than rewatch She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, The Marvels, even Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I'd rather watch this than watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I would rather watch this than Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But we'll get to those when we get to those, potentially in 2026. Who's to say? But with that being said, I would like to end this here. So comment down below. Tell me what you guys thought, spoiler filled of course, about Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell me why. What was your favorite scene? What was your least favorite scene? Are you upset with Carnage having a deep voice or saying we? Are you upset about that? Or are you like, nah, it's fine, it's fine? I'm more on the side of like, I'm upset about it, but also this is not like an MCU movie, so I'm also kind of like, whatever, dude, it's a Sony movie. Who cares? There's a lot more things, Madam Weapon, Morbius, to complain about than complaining about Carnage saying we. But comment all that stuff down below. And with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new or if you've done so already, turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel. Link to the description and at the end of the video. And I'll see you guys, hopefully, next week for the finale of the Venom trilogy, Venom: The Last Dance. Bye!